So basically, we have already covered some bit of HTML, right? So maybe if you are talking about HTML codes or maybe different HTML5, right? This header and footer we have already covered, correct? So that is, you can see navigations we haven't covered, you didn't use it, but this is the way you can use the header and footer. Doc type you can specify so that that browser will understand it is a HTML5 code. Meta tag we already covered so that additional information we can tell about the data, right? So that is the one thing. So these are majorly for sections. So majorly it is we have already discussed about the sections tag and the article as well. So the header elements are generally defined the top sections of a web page, normally consist of the logo and banners of the websites generally. So don't confuse with the header elements with the head elements. So it is not like that. It is just for making the header so that uniform header you can just place it anywhere, right? So some images you are just placing it, some information you wanted to put it, something like that. So that is the main purpose of this. Otherwise we need to make it some additional HTML templates like that, add it. So these are some additional tasks we need to perform, or HTML5 is giving that such a facility to just use this header tag. Okay. Another thing is in JavaScript, the tag we have already know that how to use that link the JavaScript. So this is the tag, or you need to use script, and this is the basically file myscript.js. It should be in the same path parallel to your .html file, or where you can have that this HTML code, so it will be referred from the same place. So that's why that scripting will be getting referred from here. Okay, and you can define whatever element. Otherwise you can also put this code inside the scripting tag, like document.getElementByteID para1. So you can define the id and then you can dot inner html hello javascripts like that. So this is the way also you can put that scripting into a script tag. Okay. So the script tag used for add additional javascript code into our html document, or to link external scripts. So either you can write some basic scripts there, or you can use the scripting file. So basically, to bifurcate HTML with the scripting, you should always write separate scripting file. Okay, and just give the reference here. So javascript.js file and provide into an src. This is the basically attribute for this script. So till that time, that is we have seen, right? So the span tag already you know that that is already available. Span tag is similar with the div, right? The main difference is that div is a block element while the span is an inline element. So majorly we use the div when you wanted to put some of the content into a particular block. So we can just put into a div and we can use the div attributes. So if you wanted to give some background colors or some particular additions or deletions for some block, or maybe for showing up some particular HTML content, we put into a div and we specify as a class attribute. That class will be referred to as a CSS, and div ID you can use for any other JavaScript functions. So whatever div ID you will specify, you can use that div ID to perform any JavaScript functions for events. So that is a div that is also available in your HTML, right? It is not just recently added in HTML5, that is already there. So like that. So it's the same which we have already seen in earlier days. So till the time we have seen that HTML5 and HTML some tags we have seen it. This table row, if you wanted to create a table, if you want to create a table data, table row, this is the way you can just do it. Okay. So people who are really new to particularly for HTML, this is the way you can create table tag tr. Then this is the way you can just do it. Okay, this is the basically heading which you can just specify, and heading also you can change the color, name and everything through that tag, and the attributes you can specify. Okay, so this is the way you can just use that. Then underline you can specify like this. Okay, so UL tag is for sorry, this unordered list is similar with OL tags. Instead of using a number of alphabets list markers, that is also a tags which we can use it. So OL, maybe can somebody can ask to you how you can use the ordered list. So you can use that. Okay, this li is nothing but a list. Okay, so this is a ordered list, you can specify like this. So these are, we are covering some additional tag informations which you can you need it. So this h1 to h6 are heading tags that are used to define HTML headings. H1 is the most important heading and h4 is the least important. That is, we already know that. And href, maybe you can specify the link of that, and then maybe the attributes you can use it, color and other things you can just specify there, link. So this is the way we can just see that different HTML tags. So because you should be aware about it, how we can use the tags. Additional HTML5 tags are okay, but you also should be aware for all this older tags as well, to design where you can use it and how you can use that list, div, span, other things. Okay, so now if you, we will just talk about the CSS, cascading style sheets. So now already we have discussed, but just putting some more lights on it. Stands for navigation. It is used for define a set of navigation links. That is a menu. Okay. Earlier days you need to specify different links and other things, so you can use this navigations properly for menu purpose. So maybe whenever you are defining a site, so you can also design the menu, or maybe a horizontal menu or vertical menus. So these things you can use it. For commenting any other, we can use this kind of a any this kind of a text we can use it. This is the basically text which we use for commenting purpose. So this is the way, this is the comment, it will not be displayed in the browser. So it is basically internal comment which you can refer it for just for coding or maybe for developer purpose. Okay, so some characters have a predefined meaning in HTML are reserved. So some of the reserved words, so every language has a, some of the reserved words. These reserved words is already used by the language itself, so or maybe scripting itself, so we should not use it. Just a less than is used for start the text, right? So what will happen if you will just text 5 less than 12? So to do that we need to use a character entities. So character entities always start with the ampersand sign, keep in mind, and end with the semicolon. So there are two ways to display the less than sign. We can either write it ampersand lt, or we can use this ampersand has 60. The first is known as the entity name, while the latter is known as the entity number. The entity name is easier to remember. LT stands for less than, but some browsers do not support all entity names. Very important point. On the other hand, entity numbers are harder to remember, but support is better. So both have its own. You can use basically for this entity name less than like that ampersand LT like this. So greater and less than, this is ampersand. This is the way you can just use it. So this is another, you can just note of it in whenever if you are just learning it in the notepad or somewhere. So this is the way you can just use it. So another commonly used character entity is non-breaking space @NBSP. A non-breaking space entity is used to display consecutive space. By default, HTML does not recognize the consecutive space. If you write HTML5 spaces in your HTML code, the browser will remove 4 of them and display only one space. So there are 5 spaces here, but the browser will display there are 5 space here like this. So if you want to display more than one space, you need to write @NBS like this. This is the way you can just specify space. So this is the way you can specify the space. Sometimes you need to leave the margin, right hand side, left hand side, or maybe give some proper details. It should not be rightly left aligned, right aligned, something like that. So then you can just use that space. So till the time we have seen some additional tags, and there are some characters which is basically missing, right, or which cannot reserve characters basically. Now we will just start with the CSS. So why the CSS is getting used? So basically for all purpose, maybe we can say for styling and making your websites looks gorgeous, right? Is the fancy things which we wanted to do, that is we can just do through a CSS basically. So because if something like a very plain HTML and it is not making any sense, so that it is not very visual, not good for us for visual purpose. It is not very attractive. People don't feel good for when they are using, right? So for functionality, for performance, apart from functionality, this look and feel is also very important, right? So that we need to know. So this is the basically so CSS stands for cascaded style sheets. So latest version is CSS3. Okay, and here we will cover core properties of CSS2 as well. So how you can apply the CSS and how you can write a CSS and into your HTML tag. So basically where you apply the CSS, you will apply the CSS tags onto some HTML elements, right? So basically if you wanted to put that button color something like gray, or maybe if you want to display that particular table is like green or somewhere, the page color should be, background color should be something different, that link you are displaying as a blue. So these are things we basically we need to, either we can use the attributes, but based on apart from attributes, you can also use that CSS style sheets. It's really making sense. Another thing is that if you really wanted to design some sort of standard styles for common attributes or common let's say if you have some particular div or division, so Anytime if you wanted to use some common CSS, you can just write this CSS code once and apply to all the div wherever you wanted to use. That is the much better way, correct? So the way you can use that CSS, the syntax for adding the rules in your HTML code, so you can just link, see, type, and then href style.css, and you add this link tag to your head elements between the heads, and the first two attributes are array and type. Tell the browser that this is the CSS style sheets. Okay, so that link and these two attributes are basically just saying that this is the basically CSS style sheets. And even HTML5, these are additional information not required, it is by default it is taking up. So these are basically the way we can specify the CSS style sheets. Okay, so where you can just put this particular tag into a head text and then specify that is style.css. So basically you need to write the file with .css extension, and then we will define the details whatever we wanted to give. So a CSS file is simply a file that contains the CSS rules without any HTML tags. So we need to define the some CSS rules, that's it. So it's a very basic example. You can try to do this body. So we will specify margin is 0 and background color is green. And we will just save this code into an style.css. And in the same folder as the .html file resides. And you can then use this link tag above the link this CSS file in your HTML file. Simple. Okay. The second method to add the CSS rules to our site is to embed the code directly into our HTML source code within the head elements. This is done means you will put, rather than to creating a CSS files, you can also embed your CSS code into your HTML code. This is done with the style tag. An example is shown below, the embedded CSS code. So this is the way you can just do it with the style tag, as we have seen in the scripting tag as well, right? But it doesn't really looks good, and it doesn't a good way to do this because it's very jumbled when we have just so many HTML content and this HTML content, and you also add this additional scripting and style into one single file, so it doesn't looks good, and any person is new person will just read the code is not able to understand properly. For some basic setups and basic things you can just try it for learning purpose, but it is not the way to do it. So always create that c.css files and just do it. Okay, so this is the simple way, just you create the style tag and put it there. Otherwise you can just put that link tag in the code head, and then you just give the .css files reference there, and both has to be on the same path parallel to each other, .html file and .css file. Otherwise, if you have put that .css files in some other folder, so you need to specify the relative path for this particular folder. Okay, so the last method is use the inline CSS. Inline CSS is specified in the start tag of the element. So this is the way you can just specify. Otherwise, you can also use div style. Text decoration is underlined, color is blue, something like that. Also, you can use a style attribute here. Okay, so here if you will just see, right, so this is the way you can also use it. So in out of three ways, linking is the preferred method, which is we already discussed that you need to create a separate CSS file so that you can use the same CSS code throughout your project and multiple web pages and multiple HTML files. Okay, so always create a separate CSS files and put it into a link tag and then just give the reference. Simple. Embedded CSS is used only for when the particular CSS used for particular web page or HTML page, but still linking is a much more preferred way. Now it's a very important point. So if you wanted to override this CSS on some certain conditions, so inline CSS has a higher precedence than the CSS code adding using the linking reference. Okay, so means if you wanted to just override some of the CSS for a particular div, means some certain conditions, but if you want to override, so in that case, that inline CSS will always make sense and it have higher precedence. So this is a very important. So you need to understand if you are creating such a scenario. Okay, so you need to know that this is a very important concept, so you don't need to debug why this web page is taking older or some different CSS. So you need to know that, so please note for this, it's a very important point. Now again we will just look for a CSS rules. Okay, so let's say in CSS we just put as a syntax which is relatively straightforward: selector, properties value, properties value, properties value. So if you wanted to use this particular rule, so you can specify div background color is a green and font size is a 12 px. So this is the way basically you can specify. So any selector is something is basically a div. Property is a background color. Second property is a font size. So this is the way you can specify. So any particular you can say selector you can specify like this as well. So any div, whatever you will write it, that will always make sense like that, or it will be behave and the styles or maybe the look and feel will be like this, because it's a very, the first word div is the selector. So we have just created a CSS rule for div. So this is another way to create a CSS for a particular div, right? So anytime if you will just find out the div when we are just processing the HTML, so whenever you will so find out the div, that will be that will have the background color as a green and front this font size is a 12 px. Okay, so
Excuse
this
me,
is
Ashish.
so guys, this is a very, we have created a particular selector, so you can just write this particular code as, keep a note of it. So any, so this is the rule we have created, right? For div, which is as a selector, if you wanted to put as any button, so you can make it as a button. If you wanted to make any either input box, something like that, so any selector you can just make it and you can specify the property, whatever property you wanted to use it. Okay, so this is the way basically, that is a very generic kind of a CSS which we basically use it. So in the generic kind of a CSS, basically it is throughout common for all the div and all the buttons. It will never be varied from the from different buttons or different divs or maybe from different HTML pages. Okay, so that is the way also you can just do it. And you can also specify in the indentations like that. In the line breaks do not matter, so you can specify just in the one single line also. It's very pretty forward, it's nothing like that. So till now we have seen that how, what are the different ways you can write a css. First thing, you can just put an inline css, directly create a style tags and put it there. Second way, you can create a .css files and give link through a link tag. Okay. And third way is also you can directly specify style attribute for a particular way. And then how we can create a different rule. So we have seen the selector and the property files in the curly bracket. This is the way. So any selector here, it is for div. You can, if you want to specify for particularly any, you can say selectors like button or div or something like that. That is also.
Ashish, sorry to interrupt.
Uh-huh.
Cohort has some doubts. That's why I joined here.
Uh-huh.
So, what is the problem? Can I ask them?
So basically, till that time, we have already discussed that what are the different ways. The ways we have already discussed for creating the different style sheets. Either you can inline or maybe just giving a directly into a particularly in attribute, or maybe you can also create a separate style sheets, and that style sheet will basically you can link it through a link tag, and that style sheet reference you can just give it. Correct. And then we have seen that the way we can define the rule. So selecting an that particular element, right? So if you have declared that particular rule for div tag, so right, so and if you wanted to, let's say, suppose if you wanted to have one div element is to have a font size 15 and another to have font size 14, so how you will do it? Because you have created that style sheet for div, right? The division whatever we just referred as that for selector as a div, and we have specified, right, this background color green and font size is 12 px. But in some certain cases you want that div size as the font size of 14 px, so how you will do it? So that is also you can just do it, how you can just control it, right? So you can specify the div id. So there is a two ways. First thing is classes and the IDs. Through that you can basically categorize it. So there are basically two ways. The first method is to use the ID attribute of a div. This is the way you can just use it in your instead of just using a div tag, so that you can categorize this div ID. Okay, and you can write something. So here you can have a two div IDs, para 1, para 2. So here we categorize and bifurcated this one div from another div through the ID tag, ID attribute. Correct. So in the CSS code, we can then select the respective ID by adding the hash sign in front of the ID name. Okay. So you can control that which particular div ID will have what kind of a background color or what kind of a font size. This is like that. So you can specify para 1 hash para 1. So you need to use hash and the ID name, and it is basically inside the CSS file. So this is the way you can just change it. So this common background color will always be the green for all the divs, but for para 1 div the font size will be 12 px, para 2 div the font size is a 14 px. So the first rule applies to all the elements width, right? And the second one we can just bifurcate through a div id. In addition to using a selector hash para 1, you can also be more specific and write div hash para 1 with no space before and after the hash sign, like this. Okay, so these are the basically way we can use it. Okay, And always remember, the id always should be unique for all the div ids, means there should not be common ids for any particular div or any other id with any other element. So you should not use the same id for two elements basically. So if there is the same id, then there is a problem arises when you start using a javascript or other scripting language on your websites. So now we have again understood the concept for how we can categorize the different elements. If you have written a common css for all the elements, so we can bifurcate it like that, like this. Okay. Now another ways, you can also specify the class. A class is similar to an id with the exception that a class need not be a unique. Very important point. So you have seen that so many, if you will just go into any website, and you can just see the view source. So you see that so many things in the view source, right? So view source, and majorly people are using that class, and you can attach. So my class you can just create a one time and you can apply for as many as div. So here you can also use that. If my class you can use for division, my class you can use for paragraph. So this class is very important, and in addition, an id has a higher precedence than a class. It is also you need to keep in mind. Very important point. And this is also very important point. If somebody is asking to you what is the difference between class and id, you need to know that a class is similar to an id, but there is an exceptions. Class you can use, should not be a unique. It is not a unique. You can use same class for multiple elements. So here if you will see that division also you can use, and class also you can use it. Okay.
Ashish,
uh,
uh,